you know it's kind of awkward to do it by yourself because you kind of have to levitate the door. Welcome back to the vlog. It is a chilly Tuesday morning. I was just outside with the dogs for a bit and my hands are frozen. I need to dig out the winter gloves and hats. It feels too early, but fall always has those brisk mornings and I forget all too quickly. But I'm warming up with my matcha here and I've got my heated blanket warming up. I actually made some progress in the office yesterday. If you watched last week's vlog, you saw we were just prepping all of the trim in the room for paint. All of the trim in our home is painted with an oil-based enamel, super glossy, and if you just paint over it with latex paint, it would just scratch off. So I had to scuff sand it and prime it with a bonding primer to prep it to paint over it with latex paint. Yesterday, I scuff sanded all of the primed areas very lightly and wiped it with a tack cloth and applied the first coat of color. And let me tell you, it's amazing. So we will rewind and I'm going to catch you up on what I worked on yesterday. I'm very happy with how this is coming together, but it definitely does need a second coat. So today I'm going to scuff sand that first coat of paint and prep it for the next coat just so that we have good adhesion, and I will throw a second coat of paint on that today. The window is really tricky because there are so many crevices. I need to make sure it can open and close still. The top section of the window has been painted shut from the previous paint and I cannot get it open for the life of me. So for now, I'm just leaving it. When I went to check the window this morning, I couldn't open the bottom half because I had painted that shut. I was trying to be so careful, but the paint is just like really sticky, and as soon as it sort of meets two areas of wood that are touching, it just like seals them shut. So I had to work on that a little bit with an X-Acto blade and brute force basically to get the window open, but I did get it open. And I think what I will do today is leave the window open while I paint so that I can get my hands underneath the bottom sash And then once it's all dry, I will close it and touch up any of the areas I couldn't get to with it open. I should only need 2 coats of paint. It's pretty thick and it had pretty decent coverage. So once we get this second coat on, I think we will be all set. I'm still aiming to sand down doors tomorrow, so we will see how that goes. It's actually going to be a short week because Matt and I are headed on vacation this weekend with the dogs and all, so we're both very excited about that. I will bring you along with us, but I think I'll do it in a separate video because I don't want to bore the people who are interested in just the office stuff with that, but I will definitely bring you along because it is a very cool place and I cannot wait to share it with you and stay there myself, quite frankly. In a span of just a few hours, I feel like I'm coming down with something. Don't know how that happened. I felt like a little congested this morning, but I didn't really think anything of it, and just like as the day went on, I'm like blowing my nose more, feeling more congested. I have a headache, I feel very warm, so I don't know what's happening. Crossing my fingers that it's just a little cold and it will pass soon because I don't want to feel crummy on vacation. But I'm going to try to get the second coat on the trim in the office. I'll go as long as my body will let me. The second coat is usually a little bit faster because you're not so worried about like full coverage. So I'm hoping it will move a little bit more quickly than yesterday. I completely spaced yesterday and forgot to wash my brush and my roller. So they were rock hard this morning. So I need to get out a fresh brush and roller and see how much I can get done. Well, hello. I finished the trim. The trim is all painted. Well, I shouldn't say all. Ugh, it's never all, is it? I have like a little bit of the window left to do. I just did the bottom sash and I still have to finish the top sash because I was worried about it painting itself shut again. So that way I could let it dry while it was open and then I can do the reverse for the upper side. But aside from that, the trim is done and it looks beautiful. So now we need to move on to the doors. I figured it would be the least messy to just bring them outside and sand them down. There's a pretty thick enamel on them and some of it's like chipping off, so it's not as simple as just doing a little scuff sand, and I want to do it right because if I do, they will hold up for a very long time. So I got our sawhorses out. I'm going to set those up and then I'll bring one door out at a time and we'll just give it a really good sand. I will bring them inside to prime because it's a little bit cooler out. There's leaves falling and I don't want our fresh coat of paint to have things stuck to it or maybe not dry or cure properly because of the weather. So I figure it's better to do that inside. We've had good luck on that so far. At least we can get the sanding mess done outside. As you can hear, I definitely have some sort of congestion going on. I've been drinking a ton of water, vitamin C, making sure I'm eating meals, and I went to bed really early last night. So I'm just crossing my fingers that I can kick this and feel a little bit better before we go on our vacation. So I'm gonna get set up and we'll get to sanding. I brought both doors back inside. They've been sanded down, and then I actually ended up taking a chisel and just loosely scraping off any loose paint chips. Some of this paint, as you can see, is like separating, so I just wanted to get any of those loose bits off. And now that I'm looking at the doors, this one's not too bad, but this door, which is the like main entrance door, is in pretty rough condition. It looks like they took this basic like craftsman style door and added these trim pieces, so it looked a little more like decorative, which is a cute idea, but over the years it started to separate. And I don't know if they use like a wood glue or a filler or caulk, but whatever it is, it's just like it's in really rough condition. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my caulk and I'm going to fill these big gaps just so that when I'm painting, it's a solid filled surface to paint over. It's the perfect time to repair something like this because I haven't painted it yet, and I'd really love to not have to take these doors off again in the near future. So I'm going to caulk all the seams that are splitting. This door, like I said, is in pretty good condition. There might be like 1 or 2 spots, but because they didn't add that trim on the interior of these little like windows, it's much cleaner. Caulked, and because it took me about an hour to do that, the first side we started with is now dry. This type of caulk says you can paint within 30 minutes, so I'm good to go ahead and start priming. I'm going to prime all sides of the door because eventually I'll paint the sides of the door that face out. The insides of the door that face the room will be painted the green that we've used on the trim and the built-in. But the other sides I haven't decided yet, like I might do the interior of the closet, another fun color, and switch it up. And then the side that faces the dining room, when we get to designing the dining room, I'll pick a color for that door. I don't want to have to take the doors off and sand and prep and prime them when I do get to those spaces, so it makes sense to do it all right now. I know I look like I just rolled out of bed, and that's because I did. The bad news is I didn't sleep all that great. But the good news is I'm up early and I have time to put the first coat of color on the doors before we leave for vacation. This should be pretty quick. I'm only painting one side of the doors and then the edges in color because, like I said, the other sides of the doors will be a different color at some point, and I haven't decided on that yet. So I'm going to paint the first coat now, and then when we get back I will paint the second coat, and we should be able to hang them up and call the doors done for now. I've got my water here filled with vitamin C to power me through. It should only take about 45 minutes, and then we're gonna go back. died as I was painting the last door, but we got our first coat on. I also painted the edges of both doors and then like wiped the back edge with a wet paper towel, just for a few spots where it kind of like rolled over the back, because I want to leave the back just primed for now. But I'll let this dry, and then when we get back from vacation, we will come back and put a second coat on and get them hung back up. Good morning. We are back from vacation, and last night I put the last coat of paint on the office doors. So they dried overnight, and I'm going to attempt to hang them this morning by myself. If you've ever hung doors before, you know it's kind of awkward to do it by yourself because you kind of have to levitate the door like an inch off the ground while you screw it in. But we're going to give it a try to see if I can get these checked off my list. They look really good. I am really happy with the prep work we did. Just caulking those open seams really makes it look more tidy. Like, it's still an old door. There's still like wear and tear to it, but it doesn't look so tragic. Like, they needed a little love. I also finished painting the upper sash of the window, so now the window has all of its coats of paint. Definitely a little bit of cleanup. I need to take a razor blade and scrape off all of the paint that got onto the glass, and then I do still need to paint the mullions, just the inside edges that face the inside of the office. I'll paint those the same green so they kind of blend into the window. I'm going to flip the camera and we'll see if we can get these doors hung. Okay, after a little bit of adjusting, I got both doors up. So that's the closet door. And then on this side, we've got the entry door. When my dad was here, he fashioned these little blocks so the door handle didn't wiggle. We have all of these style door handles upstairs in our house, and the old owners left a whole box of extras. I used to have this knob on this door, but it was just one-sided, so I couldn't push or pull from the interior, and I wanted a proper handle on this door. We were on the hunt for a latch so that this would actually like latch shut, but this is not like the standard style latch that comes in like normal doors now. We have them all upstairs, but I could not for the life of me find a look-alike for this door. So I'm on the hunt. I may have to go to like an antique architectural salvage place, or I don't know, look on eBay or something. But at the very least, we've got door handles on both of the doors for now, so we can switch those out at a later date. This could be cool to have like a latch, kind of like our bathroom doors, but since I already had the knob, I just popped it in the existing hole for now. All that said, I think the green looks awesome. I'm really, really happy with it. And I'm excited to get back to building the cabinet doors and drawer front here, because that's really the last piece for the built-in. I actually had a follower ask if I had thought about putting wallpaper on the ceiling, and it reminded me that I had saved a pin where they had wallpaper on their ceiling, and I really liked it. And I don't know why that didn't occur to me when I was looking at my samples here. Now, something like this wouldn't really work as well because it's like directional. So I would need something that would kind of like just work in all directions. But I have been thinking about what that might look like if we did it on the ceiling instead of the walls. So I'll keep stewing on that. And then if you haven't been able to tell, this light is so problematic in this room. It creates so many weird shadows. It's super dark. It would be great to put an overhead light in this room just to create a brighter aura. This is just, it's really cute stylistically, but if I'm gonna be in this room working, all these shadows are gonna drive me nuts. And as you've seen during filming, it's really hard to film in here because it's so dark and like it just creates these weird pockets of light. So I think we're gonna try to figure out how to do that. The other nice thing about potentially doing wallpaper on the ceiling is that it's a completely uninterrupted surface, meaning there are no doors, windows, trim, nothing, even a light fixture at the moment. So it would just be a big rectangle that we could run panels down, very limited cuts, much smaller surface area, so it would be more cost effective. So definitely lots of pros. If we do a light fixture, I would probably want to do that first before we go ahead and install wallpaper. But like I've mentioned, I'm still gonna wait on the wallpaper. I still want to sit with the room and get a feel for it before I actually decide on a pattern. I will finish up the window for the next office episode, so I'll scrape all the paint off the glass, I'll paint the mullions, I'll get those installed again, and then we will get back to building the doors and drawer fronts and drawer, and hopefully wrap this built-in up in the next few weeks. Next week's vlog is going to be a recap of our trip to Rhode Island, so we will meet back in the office again in 2 weeks. Thank you so much for watching this week. If you liked the video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe for future updates, and I will catch up with you in the next vlog.